April 9th, 2019. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President Trubicki Bell.
Here.
Mr. Conti. Here. Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Ms. Lualbo.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy.
Here.
Ms. Provenza.
Here.
Mr. Suchovich.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
Mr. Pitch.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Present.
I am also present. Here.
Thank you. Okay, council will now hear registered comments. The first one is County Councilman Nick Fatoulis for a presentation.
We'll just jump right in. Huh?
We're just going
I might need somebody.
Yeah, you do need somebody.
Did anybody forget to tell him?
No, we're good.
He doesn't know.
He
Jerry.
to hold on a minute?
Yeah, she's on a call.
Can we take Mr. Purcell then first? Mr. Purcell.
Thank you. I brought these for the council members, the official. My name is John Purcell. They call me Chip. And I was just reacquainted with Dave Recupero there because I did business with the Borough of Verona in the 90s. When you had a leaking underground storage tank. And I was pretty much the general contractor on the pool of the tank, the remediation, and I was the one that made sure that we didn't bankrupt the borough. Because you had so much leak in the tank, but you guys had kept outstanding records. So what I did, I appealed to the DP and said, here's our options. We could bankrupt the borough, and we could, and we can also bankrupt the indemnity fund, but I don't see any point to that because we've stopped the contamination and we have no health hazard any longer. I'm asking for a waiver on this situation, which was interesting because I got paid by the ton of dirt that we moved. But that just isn't how I do business, and it's not how Enviro 21 does business. I was a waste broker and a consultant for 20 plus years. I closed my company, and a few years ago I decided to restart it. And a young fellow was working with me and said to me, I yelled at him when he came in, and he was supposed to be making phone calls for business, and instead he was playing on the computer. Not that millennials ever play on computers or anything like that. They attend to all their work. But what happens, he said, I don't feel like making calls. I'll do it online. I said, it's not online. You need to do it by the phone. He said, this is the 21st century. This should be online. He and I talked and we came up with the concept of Enviro 21. Basically what we are is we are an online platform for bids. And we do it in a reverse auction format so that we can save you money and give you more control of your bid. When you do a bid now, we follow all the rules. You still have to advertise in 2 different places. You have to do it 10 days in advance. You have to take the lowest qualified bidder and whatever. But instead of waiting for those bids to come in where the vendors are setting your price, we have you set the initial price. So if you say, I want the bidding to start at $100, that's where we start it. And if you say you want the increments, they have to go down by at least $5, that's what they have to do. Now in this material I gave you, there's a couple testimonials and there's some case studies, but I'm going to give you a real quick couple of them. One of them is from the city of McKeesport. They had 290 houses they wanted to demolish last summer. And I have the statistics that show the average house demolition, especially for a place like McKeesport, where they have houses like you guys have with the 2 and 3 stories, a lot of brick, it's 10 to 15,000 a house. Plus Allegheny County now has a policy that you have to have an asbestos inspection prior to doing it, which adds another, I don't know, any place from $300 to $1,000, depending on who you get to do it. Anyhow, So 10 to 15. Well, Mayor Cherupko says, we're going to give this program a shot. And I said, okay, and I worked with them because that's what we do. We'll work with you, and whoever is writing your contract or your bid specs, we'll help them, because there's a few tricks that I learned in all my years in the waste business. And Mayor Cherupko says, let's start at $8,000 a house. I said, my God. I said, that's almost half of what national averages are. He said, well, you told me the worst that could happen is if nobody bids, then we rebid it. We raise the price and we rebid it. Let's see if we get a bite at it. Well, we ended up saving them in excess of $750,000 on their bids last summer. Because not only did we get under $8,000 a house, we got down to $7,100 a house, including the asbestos inspection. Now, we can also do this for engineering environmental companies. We can do this kind of work for counties. We have a number of counties signed up already. We can do this work for industry, which we intend to get into. But right now, our total focus is municipalities. And we've done garbage contracts, and what brought me here, to be honest with you, is I found out you have a garbage contract coming up. We can help you with that significantly. Check with Rankin Borough. Now, Rankin Borough is a little tiny borough. They were paying $117,000 a year to waste management. They were going into an option year. In the option year, Waste Management says, we're raising your rate 6.5%, which it's not that much, but that's a small borough. They don't have much of a tax base either. Well, what happened, they asked us to get involved, so we got involved. I put a couple things into the bid, and I'm going to tip my hand and give you one of them. Every bid, whether I'm involved or not, should start off with, all pricing must be inclusive of all fees, surcharges, and taxes. No additional monies will be paid. Because all of a sudden, you just got rid of the fuel surcharge, which they're banging people on that. Okay, so anyhow, that's one of the things we did. I did a few other things. I don't make any changes to your contracts. I make recommendations. That's your decision. What you guys do is up to you, but I will review it and make recommendations. Well, anyhow, Rankin Borough said, we're going to do the thing, and Waste Management says, well, you know, you're still only paying $120,000. They weren't, they said, no, we're going to go ahead with this program. We ended up getting them a 5-year fixed contract, no increase in price, for 5 years at $116,000, including our fees. And Waste Management was the winning bidder again. So it works. It works. We charge $295 to subscribe, and that subscription covers as many bids as you choose to do for a given year. If you want to do one, Mount Pleasant, for example, has not done a bid yet. They're doing one, I think it's in 2 months, we have them a paving job we're going to be doing for them. And then in December, we're already gearing up, we're doing their garbage bid in December. We've done garbage bids for Rankin. We just launched, by the way, about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, not even 2, where we launched using it. But Rankin Borough, Duquesne, Latrobe, garbage contracts have gone up between 50 and 60%. Council of Governments over in South Hills, 14 municipalities, 50%. Penn Hills, 50%. We were talking, and everybody is being told that it's because the Chinese aren't taking our
Plastics.
recyclables anymore. That has a small effect on it. And they'll hate me for saying this. Won't be the first time, and hopefully not the last time they hate me. But the prices are going up that dramatically because they want to make more money. And there's a couple big companies in the area that think they have a lock on the market. And one of the things we do, you aren't allowed to call people and say, why don't you bid? I am. We have a database of over 50,000 contractors, and companies. And anybody that's in the proper geographic area will call. I'll call Vogel, I'll call County Hauling. I work with Waste Management and I work with Allied. They both won bids with us, much lower than they wanted, but they did win bids. I'm not going to guarantee your prices will be as low as they are now. I can't, because I'm not the one bidding, but I can tell you this, we'll get you a lower price than if you do it just by paper bid, because paper bid, they hold the cards. Basically, that's it. Would anybody have any questions? Yes.
So I just wonder, how is this possible? What makes this possible for you to be able to get these lower bids?
It's a reverse auction. Instead of them just sending in and saying, I'll bid $100, and somebody says, I'll bid $125, somebody else says $150. We say the bidding you say the bidding starts at $95. If you want to bid, you have to go under that by at least $5 or whatever it may be, whatever parameters we set up. And then they bid down. If they want the project bad enough, they'll bid it. You set all the parameters. You determine what the conditions are, what the rules are, what the penalties are. You know, I was talking with the municipality today, and they said, we're having all kind of trouble with this garbage hauler. Can we get out of the contract? It's not unless you want to spend a lot of money. I said, you know, but what you failed to do was put in penalty clauses. If you get X number of complaints, this should go into effect. If they spill stuff on the ground, they have to notify you within 1 hour, and they have to have it cleaned up within 1 hour, if possible. Because again, you don't know what they're spilling on the ground. Just because us residents say we're not putting hazardous waste in the garbage can, doesn't mean we aren't. So, you know, there are safeguards. Yes, ma'am.
How long are we contracted with you?
1 year. But you're not committed to anything for that year. I have a copy of our contract, and I'll be happy to turn that over to somebody to review. Our fees are, and I have to look at them because I'm getting old. If you do a project that is $0 to $25,000 or $1, we get 10%. If it's $25,000 to $150,000, we get 8%. $150,000 to $300,000, we get 6%. Above $300,000, I'm going to bet your garbage contract's more than $300,000 a year. We get 3%.
So that contract of, you know, whatever community goes with that, that covers like demolition, garbage?
Anything you want to do. If you want to, the only thing, and we're fighting this right now because I think it's archaic. We are not allowed to be involved, supposedly, with CDBG grants. They insist on a paper bid, which we can't figure out why. My attorneys are approaching it now, and I'll give you the greatest. A backward state like Mississippi has made it a state law that anybody that receives state funding must do all of their bids in reverse auction format to get the best possible price. And here we are in Pennsylvania, we're saying you're not allowed to do this. And it's a HUD rule, and I even said, I spoke with the fellow from HUD the other day, and I said, you guys do reverse auctions. He said, well, just in some things. I said, well, how can you do reverse auctions and know the value of them and you don't let the municipalities do it? By the way, one other thing, we vet everybody. So if you say we want $10 million in insurance, and you have to have these permits, and you have to have union laborers and things like that, you give us the particulars, everybody that bids or wants to bid gets vetted, and we have a copy of everything you've requested in a PDF for you. And then, if they don't meet the criteria, instead of us just saying no, we call you and we say, you know what, so-and-so wants to bid, they're short on their bonding ability, how should I handle it? Because I don't have a right to say no. Again, it's your bid. We're just working through you. Yes, ma'am.
How quickly can you get through a bidding process with garbage companies? How long does it take?
The bid itself will last technically 1 day. Now,
It's all the, getting all
everything to do,
specifics.
for example, you have a contract that is up at the end of May, if I'm not mistaken. Have you begun writing your new bid yet?
We're in the process of doing that now.
I would want to set up a meeting with you as soon as possible, and you get me whatever you have. Within 3 days, I'll have it reviewed. Any comments I have, I will send back to you. When I send those back to you, the next step would be you say yay or nay. You go through the final. You then send it back to me. And thanks to computers, you know how quick all that goes. We then load it up online. We then give you a passcode to get in. And when you get the passcode, you review what we've done online, and you say, wait a minute, Chip, I don't like the way this looks, I don't like the way this reads. And that gives us time to do it. In the meantime, you've just notified your bidders, or you've put the bid things in the paper, advertisements in the paper, the 10 days. My suggestion would be, if you're going to do it with us, let's do it as soon as possible. So let's say we don't get the bids we want, we have to throw them all out. We have time then to rebid it. Right? We don't charge you another fee. And, you know, we want this to work for you. I'll be honest with you. It's a lot harder to sell you 10 times than it is to sell you once. And if I do a good job for you and work for the municipality and have my company work for it, we could save you some money. I should also add that the backup we have is Management Science Associates. For those of you that aren't familiar, they're a $150 million big data firm out of Point Breeze. They're the ones that developed the software that we use. They're the ones that oversee it. Waste Management tried to pull a fast one. They tried to get in a bid just as the bidding was completed. And the bid didn't get taken because 12 o'clock was the cutoff. We don't have to make that a cutoff. If we're still getting bids and you've chosen, we could allow it to go on as long as you want. But this particular client said no. No, it cuts off. Well, what we did then, Waste Management said, the computer wouldn't take our bid. I said, that darn computer's acting up again. And I said, let me check into it, please. Our information is stored down in Atlanta. And we got a timestamp to prove that their bid was made at 3 or 4 seconds after the bidding was closed. They had no argument. They had no argument at that point. But we could get everything turned around for you so you could be doing your bid probably by, not probably, easily by the end of the first week, second week of May. That way, if you don't get anybody you want, then what we can do is another 10-day notice and put it in.
So you would be working with either the solicitor or the engineer
That's
on
correct.
different projects?
Oh, yeah.
Then they would come back to us and say, this is what is being offered?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are in control of everything. We just make recommendations, and then we do the actual input, we do the vetting, and, you know, we announce the bids. I'm going to give this to your solicitor so he can review this.
Mr. Purcell, so it would cost the borough $295 a year to subscribe.
That's correct.
And it's unlimited, what kind of bidding we do. And then...
As long as it's permitted by the state.
Okay. And then from there, you get percentage of whatever...
Yeah, and it's a sliding scale. Now, for example, on a waste contract where you pay by the month, okay, we aggregate that fee. It's not whatever you pay by the month. In all likelihood, it would be 3%. I'm going to guess your waste contract's over $300,000. So every month, 3% of whatever the bill is, we would be sent. You wouldn't have to pay it all at once. Rankin actually chose to pay theirs once yearly. And by the way, one of the other things we can do, there are some bids that you're not allowed to use the funds for anything other than that bid itself. So what I do in those situations is we make it vendor paid, and we just make that part of the contract. The winning bidder must pay the fees of Enviro 21.
If you pay, for instance, upfront for the year, do you get a discount for that?
Not on the over 300,000. I'll say this, if you would choose to do that, I would work out a discount with you, but it would not be overly significant because our margins just aren't there.
Okay.
I'd rather be honest than lie to you.
Thank you.
So we need to let you know.
Let me know if you're interested. If you are, use my cell phone because I'm running constantly. Give me a call and I'll see you as soon as possible.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Seeing you again, Chip.
You too, Dave. Good luck as mayor.
All right, thank you.
Hey, County Councilman Nick Fatoulis. We've got the chief and we've got Sergeant Francos and we're set.
How about Joanne Simmons?
And we've got Joanne Simoncor here too.
Well, why don't you guys all come on up here with me? Me? This is by you, Jerry.
By you, Jerry.
This is by you.
Playing in sewer.
You probably would compare today, right?
Whatever you love.
It's good to be back home here in Verona.
Good to have you.
And by the way, I'm sorry to make Seven Springs. I kind of missed all the fun, I think.
Oh, we missed you too.
Informational. It was informational this weekend.
Very.
Come on up here with us. Jerry, I'm here tonight to honor you as a Verona police officer for saving her life. Oh. Did you forget about that? Well, I know you usually get the answers I do my job, but
Yeah, that's basically it.
I understand it. But here's how the story goes from what I was told. It was February 26th, a very windy, cold night. Joanne decided she was going to chase her trash can lid that she had lost in the wind. Against the will of your sister, you decided to go out and look for it. It was several hours later that your sister made a phone call as a missing person. Jerry notified all of the agencies around, and being a smart police officer as he is, he notified the Allegheny Valley Railroad and said, we have a missing person. He knew they traveled at night. So here you know it, they found her somewhere in the vicinity of Washington Boulevard. That's probably 5 to 7 miles from here. I can't imagine how you made it that far. Well, not only did he save your life that evening, by taking you to the hospital, we found out that you had a non-malignant brain tumor that caused your irradical actions as you took. By the fact that Jerry, good police work, and the Allegheny Valley Railroad and your sister and everyone, you're here today because of it. And we want to congratulate you and honor you tonight for your police work.
Thank you.
As a Verona police officer. From Allegheny County, and actually at the bottom here, it also describes the fact that somewhere in the year, you've been here since the year 2000.
Yes.
I believe.
Thank you.
And you were the creator of the Bike Derby here in Verona, a safety program that is yearly, and Peggy Suchman used to make me donate to it every year. I'll have to remind me, okay? So it's a great thing for the kids and the safety of the children, passing out free helmets and giving them safety. And that's another thing that Jerry has done in this community. And we're very proud of him tonight for his actions as a police officer. And we should all be very proud of him.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Take a picture?
I'd like to get a picture of all of you, but
Let's get some pictures with Joanne.
Here, let me give this, congratulations, I'm glad you're safe.
It's supposed to be a secret.
Sewer water.
Whenever you're done.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm
Look here,
sorry.
you can be our PR person.
I'll give you this letter of commendation. It reads, and I gotta redo this, so I'm not gonna give it to you right now, but I'm gonna. It's a great pleasure that I present you with this letter of commendation for your outstanding actions on Tuesday, February 26, 2019, in response to a call of a missing woman. Because of your quick response and alerting surrounding communities and the idea of contacting the railroad, the woman was found safe and unharmed. We extend our gratitude to Sergeant Jerry Francos for his selfless actions. So congratulations. And we're glad to
Okay, so let's all scooch together. Actually, can we get you over here by the
Hi, Jerry. All council can get up and get a picture too, you know. You guys can all get a picture, get in the middle. And we do this at the county, everybody gets in the middle.
hold out your, it's not a butt out.
That's right.
Nature's jumping up front.
And then I'm gonna take
You're the savior.
Okay, squish together real quick.
Squish.
Okay, wait, I have to stop. This table looks ridiculous.
Thank you. Sorry.
Here you go.
Okay, ready? 1, 2. Thank you.
And I'll get back to work.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nick.
I heard they ran out of water.
There's some stories that went around. I'll have to talk to you about them.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Thanks, Nick.
You know, I know we have some guests here for this, and specifically for the presentation. Joanne, I'm glad you're with us. These meetings sometimes go an hour and a half, 2 hours. So like you do not have to stay this entire meeting. So whenever you feel like you want to leave, please feel free to say goodbye and mosey on out. Okay? Okay. Council will now hear comments from the public on agenda items. Please approach the podium and clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Perry Karakatsanis, and I live on 525 East Railroad Avenue. 2 years ago, I asked for what's going on with things with Guardian Angel property on East Railroad Avenue, and it's been 2 years now, and nothing happened. I don't know what you guys did, and where we stand now. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to address that?
Is he the only speaker?
I think
we should get it for everybody first.
Okay. Are there any other agenda-related items?
I just wanted to check in to see if you received my report, if anyone has any questions. We're moving along here with the events this summer, looking for local entertainment to come in for the farmers markets. Myself and Patty Thomas from the Chamber have been working really closely together on this, and it's looking good. She's getting more vendors, and the Community Day on September 14th, the group is working with a couple different people as well to build that too. So does anyone have any questions or anything else?
Thank you for your input.
And the trip will, again, I asked him to come tonight, but there's a couple people on vacation. Mr. Carr was on vacation, so he couldn't come. So I will send as much as I can.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, any others?
Sure, I can address the guardian angel of property, sir. We did take them to the magistrate for unkept property, and they were found guilty, and we have a judgment against them. And the problem is, there's no bank account to get any of the money from the judgment on. You can't attach their ambulances because it's considered a tool of the trade. So even though we were successful and we won, now we have to chase them in an effort to collect on the money. And we're going to go back to court and we're going to keep citing them. The problem that we found is that there are numerous judgments attached to that property. They actually tried to give it to us years ago. And then we would have become what was referred to in the law as a Terry tenant, which means that it's a funny word, but what it means in layman's speak is that we would have been responsible for repayment of all those judgments. I don't know what more we can do to get Guardian Angel to do something with that property that we're not already doing by taking them to the court and winning judgments and so on and so forth. I'm certain that they haven't paid their taxes. Maybe talk to the school district and try to sell it at a tax sale, or maybe talk to the county and see if, does somebody own on either side of that? Is there a way, maybe somebody would want to take it over in what's called the Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program. That's a possibility. If the county can award that property to somebody. That's the only things I can suggest.
In other words, you're not going nowhere.
There's nowhere to go. You can't get blood out of us. We have the judgment. We take them to court, we win.
So what's going to happen with the property? Is it going to get done?
Well, again, perhaps somebody could...
The property cannot sell. I was interested years ago.
Right.
They gave over $1 million in lien.
Exactly.
So
Allegheny County...
You guys, know which way to go. I don't.
Allegheny County has a program for abandoned properties. Okay?
And you want to take care of the property? You obligate to keep the property in good shape and charge them. Not only that property, there's other properties too.
Sure. There's no way to get your money back from them. It's impossible. So we keep trying.
And then what? Who's going to keep clean the property?
I don't know the answer. I'm sorry.
Somebody gets to know the answer.
We've been cutting and everything, haven't we?
Not me. You guys, you're up there.
Okay.
Is he talking about keeping it clean?
Yeah.
It's $1 million.
Hasn't the street department been cutting up the property and stuff? I was under the impression.
The street department cut the property.
I don't know if they're cutting that one or not.
Have in the past?
I'll find out.
Okay, we're going to check with the street department and see if they are maintaining it. I was under the impression that they were, but they may have not started yet this year.
Basically, what's going on there, we have those properties abandoned, and not only on my block, but everywhere, and it looks terrible, bad for Verona. That's the bottom line. Everybody going by and see a place full of garbage, grass high, all that stuff. That's the picture of Verona.
Okay, I think what I heard Mr. Conte said is he'll check with the street department and see if that's on their maintenance list for grass cutting and whatnot. Yeah.
You know what's happening? Every time I'm coming and bitch about it in a way, they go in and cut the grass.
Okay.
And if I don't, or nobody complain about it, you guys, you don't do it.
Okay, well, this is a period for
not
public...
only for that property, there's other properties too.
Look, sure, this is our public comment period. It's not public debate back and forth. We're doing our best to respond to you, but you keep fighting back with us. We're going to look into it. We're going to do our best. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to reports and correspondence, Mr. Kenna.
Everybody received copies of the meeting minutes, and I believe I didn't make it to the last meeting, but the meeting minutes we need to approve the meeting minutes for the March regular business meeting as well as the workshop meeting, and they were distributed to everybody for review and adjusted, and they should be good to go for approval.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the March minutes of March 12th and March 26th?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passed.
The next thing on there is the bills payable. Everybody got a list of all the checks that we paid and anything that's outstanding. We would need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Mr. Conti. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, just like last month, everybody got two separate reports. There's one that has January, February, March, as well as the year-to-date and compared to the budget. There's also one that is March 19 over March 18 and any changes year over year. As far as the tax collector special taxes, we received in March 2019 $116,544.88 in current year real estate tax, $13,592.92 in delinquent real estate tax, $1,019.41 in real estate transfer tax, $22,788.27 in current year earned income tax, and $1,483.47 in local service taxes for the current year.
Can I have a motion to accept the tax collector and special taxes report?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Provenza. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And finally, you also received a borough treasurer's report for March 2019. We began the month with $282,933.27. Deposited into the general fund was $182,730.91. We spent $126,811.99 for an ending balance in the general fund of $338,852.19.
Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich.
Second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions?
Yes. This isn't about the general account, this is about the sanitary sewer account?
Yep.
What did we spend all that
So
money on?
that's our quarterly Alcosan bill. We get that 4 times a year. That's what we pay the Alcosan that we pay for sewage treatment.
That comes in with the water bill?
The residents pay it through Oakmont Water. Exactly.
Send it to them.
So you can see this, the $32,335.69 is what we collected from Oakmont Water that month. We spent the $151,020.48, which is just the quarter. And then we have an ending balance of $74,960.98. And we also received more money for this month already from Oakmont Water, so we'll be in good shape when the quarterly bill comes.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions? Motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Police chief's report.
Good evening. We received 115 complaints. Total 20 crimes reported, 17 cleared, 8 arrests, 9 borough code summaries issued, and 95 borough parking tickets. Our revenue sources, magistrates' fines collected was $695.24. Borough fines and fees collected was $570. We had $135 for police reports. Municipal fines is $33.91, with total fines and fees was $1,434.15, and another $305 for parking permits. And it was mentioned last meeting, but Tuesday, April 23rd, we're going to do the
child safety seat, safety check with the Allegheny County Police Department. And Lower Valley is going to be part of it. We're going to be over at the Riverview Children's Center parking lot Tuesday, April 23rd. And there'll be quite a few, the fire department of Lower Valley is going to be involved, and I just want to mention that again. And we did locate the kids on the dirt bike while ago that were running around up by the park. And he was more afraid of his mom than he was me. I told him I was going to go talk to his mom. That's when the tears came. So
we saw him pushing him down East Railroad.
He was going to push it on. So they can't all be on the street, so he's going to get hurt. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Chief, I have a question before we make the motion here. The year-to-date, for 2018, am I reading this correct? The complaints received in 2018 year-to-date was 360, and we've passed them up in 2019 by 28? Like there's 380?
2018 year-to-date was 360. 388 year-to-date in 2019. So yeah, we've had like 28 more complaints by this time this year than we did last year.
Then the entire...
No, year-to-date.
Just through March. Year-to-date.
Year-to-date. Between January and April,
March.
or January, February, March, we had last year, January, February, March, we had 360.
Okay, I see. Okay.
January, February, March, this year we have 388.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Motion to accept the police chief's report.
I'll make the motion to accept the chief's.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I just wanted to, in case I didn't go over before, thank council, mayor, and chief for today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you,
Jerry.
Good job, Jerry.
I think so. I think it's important for everybody to understand that what happened was not told by the police. I think Andrea called a friend of mine in Baltimore, who called another friend of mine in South Carolina, whose son works for Vice. And she was totally awed by what our police department did, and she called me from South Carolina. I had no idea. That was on one day, and on the next day I called the chief, and he says, oh yeah, I thanked him. He says, we were just doing our job. And I says, you know what, saving somebody's life is above and beyond doing just your job. So yeah, I'm grateful for all that. Fire chief's report.
We had 12 fire calls for the month of March. Also, the fire department will be down at the April 20th, Jerry? 23rd for the car seat thing. So.
Is that going to be down here?
Children's Center.
Children's Center.
Okay. I'm not sure of the time. It's an all-day thing, I think.
I think it was still 4 o'clock.
Yeah. So it's going to be there for 4. I guess they're coming in and checking car seats and stuff like that. So they asked if the fire department will be there. We'll be there.
And also, if I may, we had talked, we're going to do one in probably June or July here on a Saturday from 11 to 2. 11 to 1, I think we talked about. And it'll be open to the public.
Would it make sense to do it on the day of the bike derby?
Might be too confusing with
Okay.
cars and kids, because we block the road off.
Okay.
I mean, we could advertise it heavily and do it sometime after that.
Okay.
So people can come down.
Can I have a motion to accept the fire chief's report?
I'll make a motion to accept fire chief's report.
Motion by Mr. Conti. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. EMS report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Today with me I have Bill Negritz. He's our recently appointed new director for Lower Valley Ambulance Service. So this is kind of his way to kind of meet you guys, and you guys can meet him as well. For the monthly report for March, we had 35 responses into the Verona Borough, 11 advanced life support, 7 basic life support, 2 lift assist, 6 were cancellations. Most of those cancellations were lift assist that were provided by the police department. So kudos to the police department for keeping us available when need be. 4 refusals, 3 false calls and a bunch of fire alarms. Other than that, that's about it.
Can I have a motion to accept the EMS report?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting
Thank you,
you.
folks. Hopefully, Lower Valley, we will continue to provide the most excellent service. If anything ever comes up, please don't hesitate to contact me at any time, okay?
Thank you very much. Welcome.
What's her name still there, or is she gone?
Vicky?
Yeah.
She's the officer.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's gonna be everything over there.
Cool.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thanks.
The only other thing I had was to let everybody know I've been working with Mark about, with the new gentleman that started to help Mark with some of his inspections, and it's going really well. He's kind of shadowing Mark and offering us an extra set of eyes, and everybody thinks it's gonna work out pretty well.
What are his hours?
I have to check with Mark. I'm not sure off the top of my head when he's
Okay.
working. Right now, he's working with Mark to try to get the lay of the land and get an idea of,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
yep, on
Okay.
Wednesday, Friday.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Mayor?
Couple things here. We were up at Seven Springs, and one of the, and I'm sure some other people have some comments on it, but one of the things that has been my pet peeve is street openings with utility companies. They don't get permits. It takes their good old time getting them. They don't put the roads back together. And we do, according to the gentleman that was speaking up at Seven Springs, we do have the right to cite them. And we need to start doing that. I would suggest it to council that Craig reviews our ordinances on street openings and send them a letter, both the water company and the gas company, stating, and I understand that they have emergencies and they can't come down and get a permit, in the middle of the night, unless Jerry wants to come down. But, and I do understand that. But then they don't come down the next day and get it. Then it gets lapsed and we lose out on money. And right between Center and South Avenue in the alley there, Diamond Way, I wouldn't even go down that alley. It should actually be closed. That's how bad it is. I called yesterday and they gave me the number, or they transferred me to Jim. I don't know, he's like the supervisor up there, I guess. I left him a message to call me back, and he never called me back. And I explained to him what the problem was. It's very bad there, that road should be closed because there's a huge dip. If you got a small car, a low-profile car, you're going to scrape. And it's been like that probably since maybe December. If not between November and January, let's put it that way. It's very bad. It's not our it is our responsibility to continue to call them, but I would like to see them start getting fined after 30 days. If I have a gas leak and I have to go out into the road, I got to come to the borough, get a permit, have my contractor get a permit, and I, as a citizen, have 30 days to patch that road back the way it was. The utility companies, they're no different. They need to comply, and if more and more communities get on the bandwagon, which I'm working on that, then hopefully they'll do that.
Like I said, there was just a street opening up on 3rd last week.
I mean, I do got a copy. I asked Marcia for a copy of some of the street openings. If they got them, they're on there, but there was one down at 331 Jones Street in front of my shop that's not on here, and it's still not even asphalt, it's stones. They replaced fire hydrant. I seen them up by the cannon this morning. Did they get a permit to come in this morning?
I don't know this morning. I have to talk to Marcia. I just texted her to see if they got one today.
And
they were working up there on that one hole. I don't know what they were doing.
And like
right past
past the monument?
Yeah.
Yeah, they replaced the valve.
Permission
I wasn't on.
5 holes they dug on Arch Street and all around that area?
There's some on Arch Street on here, but it needs to stop because they're taking advantage of not only Verona but every community. Both water and gas company. And like I said, I can't do it. It's up to this board to have Craig review that, make sure it's strong enough, and have them comply with getting the permit within 24 hours, 48 hours if it's an emergency, and replacing the street within 30 to 45 days.
Okay, can I have a motion to authorize Craig to look into our street opening ordinances and verify that we have everything in order here?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? David, I was at that meeting too, and I had that in my notes.
Some of you, I remember seeing, some of you, if not all of you were there.
Right. So, thank you.
Thank you. And the last thing I have is, and I know Mrs. Semacor's here, and Matt, when we're doing paving, East Railroad, and I know I talked about this before, East Railroad, that short part is very bad, and the Children's Center also, going into the Children's Center, is real bad. And Betty just called me today and asked me if I had any update on that. I don't think I told you about the Children's Center, to be honest with you.
No, you told me about the Children's Center.
Did I?
They went on to, they put...
that's right, they put cold patch in. That's right.
I'm sure by now it's probably kicked out.
Right, but we do, the borough does own right to the circle, the roadway going in there. And it's real bad also, and it's heavily traveled, every day.
Yeah.
With the kids,
Yeah, we definitely own a portion of it. I think it's like the first 200 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, same way with East Railroad that I had brought up also, that has, there's a lot of potholes there that they patched the same time they did the Children's Center.
Okay.
So if we can look into that and see what we could do on that is, put it into our schedule. And I know there's a lot of other roads and alleys and what have you that need to be done. That's all I have, thank you.
Dave, I have a question. First Street, from north to center, we got approval on that, didn't we?
Matt will probably, I'm sure Matt will bring that up.
Can I touch on that, Matt? All right, I thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Just a couple things here. I want to make everybody aware of the COG meeting that we were approved for the CDBG Year 45, 2019 Sanitary Sewer Rehab. I'm sure Matt's going to talk about these. The Safe Neighborhood Demolition, Center Avenue, Road Reconstruction, 2019 CITF application for Wildwood and Second Sanitary Repair. I personally want to thank Matt because he's putting out these applications for us and we're getting them. The 2019 CITF, I think there are 12 municipalities. Everybody could have applied. There were only 5 communities that applied for it and all 5 communities got it. For the sanitary repair, it's the projected cost is $99,528, and we're going to receive a grant for $85,000 of that. So, I mean, that's just one of the 4 that I've talked about.
Can I give the grand total?
Yes, please.
The grand total of the 2019 grants that we've received is $770,000.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, and that's with Senate Engineering doing the work. So, Matt, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. The paving program with our new equipment, tentative dates, Dom, I don't know if you want to let AJ and them know.
Yeah.
5/13, May 13th, with a possible rain date of May 15th. And it's going to be in East Deer Township, and they also said as many people who want to come can come, even council people. So I don't know if you can get off work that day, if the 2 Johns and AJ want to go together. I mean,
I'd like to have all 3 of them there because they're all going to be involved in it.
I agree, and if one of them's sick or something, the other one knows what to do, so.
Matt will probably be there as well.
May 13th and the rain date's the 15th.
And Matt's going to be there too. May 13th with a possible rain date, and this is tentative. Jerry's going to get a formal letter from the COG letting you know.
What's the time on that, Sandy?
Early. Like 7:30, maybe.
Oh,
okay. Okay, maybe earlier.
Thank you.
Where's it again, Sandy?
They said East Deer Township. I don't know if that's tentative or if that's a for sure. Matt, I didn't know what they were talking about, the LMA changes at the meeting. If you remember, Verona and Trenton Borough met the LMA. But
The low to moderate income levels.
Okay.
The county lost its exemption, so the county had an additional 5% that subtracted off the national average of 51. Verona's unaffected because we're at about 52%. So we'll still qualify for all the CDBG projects, where some of the other communities are going to have a harder time applying for those funds. But we'll be okay.
Okay, thank you. The other things that I wanted to talk about was the Bike Derby is coming up on June the 8th. And I'm kind of going to ask council for all of their support. I read the Verona News, Sylvia, the front article here was wonderful. So I'm going to ask Nancy and you to kind of work on the donations, because Sergeant Franco's buys presents so that everybody goes home with a gift. So if the businesses and that could contribute money for the gifts and that to go.
You want it for gifts or bikes?
Probably the gifts would be good, because he knows what kind of bikes are needed. Pat and Ray, I'm going to put you guys in charge of the ice as usual. Okay, so if you could work on that. Dawn, we're going to need helmets, I think all sizes. Janet, you had worked a game not too long ago, a couple years ago. You had like a fishing pond or something. I was wondering if you would consider doing another kid game.
The kids.
Yeah. David, if we could get the touch truck again, work with all that. And Mechanics Coffee and Verona Dental Care have both reached out that they want to get more involved with the community and stuff. So I've asked that they maybe have a table or a booth or something and offer free toothbrushes or whatever for them. So those are some of the activities that's going on. The ALEM conference was very, very beneficial, I thought. There was a lady from Live Well, from the Board of Health and the Health Department Director. Her name is Hannah Hardy. And she's going to be coming to our workshop meeting in regard to Live Well Allegheny Communities. I thought, with our signs in all the parks that you're not supposed to be smoking anywhere near them and such, that we need to get more involved with this. Verona is not involved. There are 60 communities out of the 130 municipalities in Allegheny County, which only makes 46%. So I know our Riverview School's involved with that.
We are one of the schools actually that Live Well.
Yeah, and I think she needs to come here and talk about the Live Well communities as well as Live Well Allegheny workplaces. She was very excited about joining us. So she's coming to our workshop meeting. There is also a forum in Sharpsburg on May 14th regarding local food fosters economic development resilience. So if anybody's interested, I will leave those. It's from 1 to 5 on May 14th. And then there's a networking happy hour from 5:15 to 7 at the Hitchhiker Brewing Company. So I will put those up here if anybody's interested in that. There's also a zoning beyond the basics offered in Penn Hills. And I would like to make a motion for myself as well as the zoning board as well as Dr. Carpenter to attend this in Penn Hills from noon to 12 on the 4th. It's $35 a person, but it favors single-use zones. It has regulations lacking purpose, an obstacle to development, what you want. And if your last zoning ordinance was updated when the #1 song was by Celine Dion or the Bee Gees, and I think ours was probably done back when it was Frank Sinatra, I think it's very important that we go to this. It's zoning beyond the basics, introducing municipal officials to modern zoning concepts. mixed use, formed use, TND overlays, historic preservation, zoning for the new economy, and it will help with common concerns that arise in the process for updating the zoning ordinance. So I think that's important for us to attend.
I'll let Mark also if he's available on that day.
Okay. So a motion on the floor for those people to attend the zoning.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, another thing that was a big topic discussion was the Census 2020 coming up. And they couldn't stress the importance enough. I asked them for a copy of their PowerPoint. They have yet to send it to me, so I'm going to contact the ladies that presented. There's $600 billion at the federal level that filters down to the state, which filters down to the county, which filters down to the local municipalities. And this is where we get money for the infrastructure, the CDBG grants, public transit, food security. The school gets money for title programs and lunch programs. Now, I don't know if anybody in the room here received the community survey, the Allegheny Community Survey that was about 2 months ago. My husband and I did. It was probably 12 pages long. It took a lot of work. It took me 2 days to complete. But a lot of those community surveys were thrown out. And what they needed to do with those community surveys was to use it for the census. So the census is going to happen, and it's going to be online, on paper, or a phone call, whatever your preference is. If you don't complete that census, they're going to be calling you. You're not going to get out of it. So they consider it your civic duty that impacts our daily living. So I'm just giving you the heads up that this has to happen. And I also wanted to bring up that in the newsletter, if you all remember, back when we had the standing room only in here for the inner groove, and the people were in here like jam-packed, and there was a resident that talked about the family spectrum place down in the Rivertown shops and how there's a very wonderful article in the Verona Community News about the family spectrum. And I was kind of followed in the Giant Eagle a couple days after that presentation, from the dairy out to the pharmacy, regarding do you know, do you know, do you know, did you know, did you know, did you know. I actually did know about this because I know the people involved here. And the reason why I know the people involved is because I'm the godmother and my husband is the godfather for the boy who has autism. And the mother is the one that's running the business. Eric Spar, who is the husband, was on our rec board. So I think my point is with this is a lot of times we hear things or people come and present things and we jump on the bandwagon immediately and start answering things and putting out our comments and whatever, when in fact what we were told that night may or may not have been all factually true when you read this article and you know the people as well as I do. So I am just kind of like cautioning us about putting out our opinions and whatever before we know the whole story. And I think that's everything. I think that's everything. Can't read my notes here. Okay. Mr. Pitch.
Thank you. The early signal for the traffic light at Wildwood Avenue, that is moving along. They have the concrete work and the foundations for the poles installed. The poles are still unordered. They take several months to be made. Each pole's custom fabricated. So as soon as they're in, you'll start seeing poles go up and the electrical work going on. The First Street reconstruction grant, we were selected for that. That's a $390,000 grant to replace First Street from South Avenue to North, removing all the brick and putting asphalt in its place, and also extending the project to address some of the poor asphalt in the I believe it's the 600 block?
Yes.
To touch up that area as well. As Sandy stated, we were selected for 3 of the 4 projects that we put in for the CDBG program this year. The sanitary lining, that will be in the area of Parker Street, High Street, and Union Street. If people are unaware, we had an issue there late last year where we had to dig a line up, and dig repairs are always very costly, so we're hoping to prevent that by getting those areas lined. The road reconstruction for Center Avenue will be removing the first 12 concrete slabs off of ARB where they're all uneven and broken, replacing that with asphalt. And then the demos on 4th Street would be 966 and 870. Talking with Jerry, my hopes are that
866.
866, I'm sorry. If the bids come in low enough, we may be able to extend that project to 1 more demo. We'll have to see when the bids come in. And the project we didn't get selected for was sidewalk work at Cribbs Field. That one was more put in as a fallback in case the road reconstruction wasn't selected, but the road reconstruction was, so. The 2019 paving, from Shannon Street to Wood Street of 2nd. Same things going on there, remove all the bricks, put asphalt. That I sent over the project specs and quantities to Penn Hills because from Wildwood Avenue to Shannon is their part and they'll be paying for that section. So I'm just waiting to hear back on them. The DCD Greenways, Trails, and Recreations Grant, I'll be resubmitting that. Upcoming here, I'll have some forms, resolutions to be signed at the next meeting. And then the CITF grant was submitted. The only other thing I have, I left a message for the electrician for the Cribbs Field lights. I'm waiting to hear back from him for a time frame of when he might fix it. Also, Jen, I looked at that trench that was still open. I'm waiting to hear back from him before backfilling it or anything like that. So
Thank you.
We're just waiting to hear back from him. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you.
Matt, excuse me, is there a projected date for completion of the light coming down off of Wildwood onto the boulevard?
Right now, I don't have a solid one. Sometimes those poles can take 3 months to get in. Sometimes they can take 6 months. I know they're on order right now. I can ask the contractor to see if he can figure out a time of when they'll come in. Once they're in, it should only take a few weeks for them to be up and operating.
The reason I ask, ironically, you're talking about this, I had a call at 8:30 this morning. An older gentleman called me. I don't know him, but he's a Verona resident. And he said, I cannot make my left turn to go to Giant Eagle. Can't you people put a light up? And I said, it's strange you would say that because we're in the process.
Yep.
You know, things have been completed. It's just now going to fruition.
All those poles are custom built per each job, so they don't. It's not like they pull them off a shelf and paint them. So they do take some time to get.
Sylvia, you should have said, "I'll have that light up in 3 months."
Yeah, they'd be calling me in 3 months saying, "Where is it?" Right?
Hey, one real quick.
Thanks,
Penn Hills did finally patch 2nd and Shannon Road.
Did it? Okay.
They were there this morning because I had a meeting with Penn Hills and Scott, the borough manager, Saturday.
Okay.
And he promised me it would be done, and it was there. You know, you don't have to. There's not a big dip there no more. Going up Shannon Road, that is.
I was going to look at it tonight because I saw on Sunday it wasn't patched yet.
Yeah, they did it this morning.
Okay.
You do need a light there, don't you?
Okay, Mr. Alexander, thank Thank you, Mr. Pitch.
Thank you. We had an executive session immediately preceding this matter on personnel and legal matters. One thing that we talked about is the need to approve the Extenet right-of-way franchise agreement. So I need a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti, I will second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
We have a hearing before Magisterial Judge DeLuca tomorrow. It's the continuation of the Enrique Vicare matter. When we were there approximately 60 days ago, Mr. Vicare spoke to Mr. Stanton about a postponement to allow him to bring the property into compliance. And Mr. Stanton granted that request and agreed to postpone the matter out 60 days. And I haven't spoken to Mark about it today, but in the last few days, my understanding is he has done nothing. So I imagine that hearing's going to go forward with Judge DeLuca tomorrow.
What time?
12:35. And I just continue to work with Dr. Carpenter and Mark on various ordinance and code enforcement matters. I think Nancy has some stuff that she's going to bring up in her report, and I will jump in as necessary.
Mr. Alexander, which is the Vicari issue?
I don't remember, but if you want to go on, I'll pull it up on my computer.
Just curious, not a major.
Yep.
I don't remember either.
Somebody else.
Okay. Dr. Carpenter.
Don.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don? I have Public Works. Sorry, Don. Your turn.
The road department is going to start cutting the grass. They're prepared. They worked on the equipment. They'll be in good shape for that. We do have to get a trailer though, Jerry. We still have the one that's in there, but yeah, that's not ours. Right. So we're gonna have to give that up, but we do have to get a trailer. I don't know if AJ talked to you.
He has not, but.
All right. I'll make sure he talks to you.
Do we have to, is that like a cog thing? We have to buy through the Shea cog?
No, it's just to haul the lawnmowers around. We put it in the budget last year.
Yeah, we did.
And it's still in there.
That's fine. That'll still be less money than we were gonna spend having somebody else cut the grass, so.
Yeah. And I talked with Jerry about the ditches up at Cribs. We're gonna have the landscaper go hopefully extremely soon. He's busy, but hopefully it'll be within a week. Get those ditches filled in. The only issue is where the electrician has to dig up the one part that came apart when it was put together, the conduit. Everything else should be done, and we're in the process of having the company come in to fertilize. They should be coming in shortly to start fertilizing. And once they come in, we'll know a schedule, and we'll have to let everybody know when that schedule is. So people are gonna have to stay off the field, at least for 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours. It'll depend on, they'll tell us how long. The sprinkler over here, that should be going very soon also. That'll be done within the next couple weeks. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question for you, Dom?
Sure.
When you say a sprinkler, are you just going to put a spigot, or are you guys going to put in sprinklers?
No, there's going to be a minimum of 2. I think there might be 4 sprinklers, and then there's going to be an underground faucet behind the pavilion on either side. So the water line's going to go up across the back of the pavilion and back down.
And is that going to be set on a timer? How are they?
We can set it on a timer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very cool. I also was wondering whether the street crew or whether there's somebody else, and maybe we need to talk about this in another part of the meeting, but for doing things like weeding, mulching, putting down the fabric, trimming, it's all the spring cleanup kind of stuff. I know that you're saying the maintenance crew is doing the grass cutting. I'm just curious if we've made arrangements.
We'll talk about that, because we have to make some kind of plan for that.
Okay.
I don't have a plan set up right now. We don't, but we will get a plan set up.
Okay.
Is that everything?
Yep.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
So, real quick, Madam President, that property, Raymond, is 702 4th Street. And Mark has it as dangerous structure or premises and unfit for human occupancy are the two things we filed against them.
That was the one, I think, where the dude fell through the window or something, fell off the ladder.
I don't know.
The ladders are still up against the house, so it might be.
It's siding now.
Yeah.
But he's done nothing to, from my understanding is he's done nothing to bring it into compliance over the 60 days that we gave him.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Carpenter.
Okay, all I have about the ordinance updates is Craig did send me an ordinance about the alcohol in the parks that we need to consider at the April 22nd ordinance meeting. And then I think we also would have to then work on producing a permit that would go along with that people would apply for that. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We have two ordinances that prohibit alcohol within the borough. One is in outside dining areas where we permit the restaurants to have outside dining areas, but we prohibit alcohol in those outside dining areas. And then at the municipal parks, we prohibit the consumption or possession of alcohol of any type. And I think what the suggestion from the committee was to eliminate entirely the no alcohol prohibition in the dining areas, the outside dining areas and vending areas. And with regard to the public parks, to eliminate it and put that in council's discretion through a permitting process, as council may from time to time see fit, and establish a permitting process for that if we're going to do it, instead of a blanket prohibition.
So will council get this information before, if we're going to vote on it?
Absolutely. We'll go to the code. It's going to go to our monthly meeting first.
Okay.
We'll flesh it out, and then mayor and council will get a copy of whatever is the ultimate final product.
Okay. Because that's only like 24 hours difference there.
What? No.
Are we meeting on the 22nd?
Yes.
Okay.
Our workshop's on the 30th.
On the 30th, okay.
So.
All right.
Well, you wouldn't vote on it on the 30th.
Okay. I misunderstood then. I thought you said we were going to...
The soonest you could vote on it would be the May meeting if you wanted to.
Okay.
I think I was referring to us talking about it at the ordinance meeting.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Yeah. I just have a couple of other concerns. I think, Jerry, a month ago, we had talked about you looking into whether the $25,000 is available for wayfinding.
Yeah, so I've talked to Matt, and that's something that we have to discuss. With $770,000 worth of grants comes about $200,000 worth of matching.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a significant amount of money that's going to go out this year in order to be able to take advantage of these grants.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have a serious discussion on whether or not we have $25,000 to spend on wayfinding this year.
And if we do, we have an alley between Church and South that needs desperately repaired, and an alley between North and Parker that have been, people have come to this meeting ranting and raving about, and I've got letters, so
we went through the list, and between the matches for the grants as well as our Second Street paving project, we're at about $220,000 worth of expenses this year that have to come out of the general fund. Now, fortunately, for the last couple of years, we have capital reserve, and we can afford that. But we have to decide whether or not we need to do that wayfinding this year, or if it's something we need to do next year, because the last thing we want to do is lose one of these grants because we can't match it. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
So you're still in the process of figuring that out?
Yeah, something we need to discuss.
Okay. The other thing is that this is kind of left over from a while ago. But a couple of years ago, I know there was some discussion about some containers in the garage that have dangerous chemicals in them. And Mike Forbeck was looking into it as a DEP kind of person. And I don't know, were they ever removed?
They're taken care of. Yeah.
That was all taken care of?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't remember that. And the other thing was, I know that there's OVR, the kids on May 3rd coming from the high school on the Give Back Day. And Angela's been coordinating with them to do some work around social media and so on and so forth. We can talk about it either now or later. I'm not sure where is appropriate to figure out what is okay for them to do. And
what was their plan? They should have a plan on what they're going to do.
They're
giving back to us.
Angela couldn't come tonight, so I don't know the precise plan, but part of what she was wondering, because she couldn't come tonight, is whether or not they could do some work where the wall is. What's it, the veteran wall? What the Boy Scouts painted a long time ago?
That wasn't the Boy Scouts, that was the high school that painted that. That was when I first came on.
Okay.
And the art teacher came on with several high school students.
Okay.
And devised that plan that was there and had the kids paint it.
No.
I think the borough paid for the paint.
Okay. So
I thought we already agreed to have them go and
there's the OVR students, which is different than the kids that are coming on May 3rd. Right. On May 3rd, what is being proposed is to work on either side of the wall and where the flower thing is, where the weeds are growing up and have been growing for quite a long time. She's hoping to have them help weed that area and clear out some of that surrounding weeds on either side of the steps where the wall is and where the flowers are. But the question is, would then the street crew be able to, once they weed it, put some of that fabric in and throw a little mulch on top so that the weeds don't keep coming back?
I'm sure I can get them to do that, yeah.
Okay, so that would be okay with everyone then if the kids came and helped do that project. I think they're going to be working on other weed-type beautifying things throughout the borough, which brings me to my other point. She is looking for volunteers to help on May 3rd to just supervise what's going on with these kids. It is a weekday, so it's during work time, but I just thought I would put that out there.
Are there any volunteers coming from the school?
I believe there are some teachers that are coming. Like I said.
How many students?
Maybe 15 or something like that. I'm not sure, 15, 16 students. Like I said, Angela couldn't come tonight, so I'm trying to step in with some of those questions. I don't know the actual specifics. And then as it pertains to the OVR students, have we figured out a plan for them? Who's going to be supervising them with what they're going to be doing here in the borough?
Yeah, we've never really walked around supervising them. They have their own supervisor.
Which last year he was horrible.
Yeah, I know, but we have a whole new one. That guy doesn't work there anymore. They kind of assured us that it would be better. I don't really think that, I don't know that council wants to have a borough employee following these kids around.
No, I'm not suggesting to follow them around, but to supervise what they're going to do, give them their assignments every day.
They always have their assignments.
What are their assignments?
A list is developed and...
We create a list of what they do, of tasks whenever we meet with the supervisor, and then they have those things that they do, like cleanups and stuff like that.
We need to know how many we're going to get. We need to know what their abilities are.
Any of that stuff, yeah.
Is touching up that veteran wall, painting that, filling in where it's chipped off, a possibility?
You're going to need somebody who knows how to do murals, you know what I mean?
That's something these kids can do. I think it might end up looking worse.
We need to know who the students are first.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually do like an interview with them.
Okay.
And we meet them before. Then
Okay.
we can use that idea. I mean, last year we were gonna get some decent people, but then some of them flaked out and disappeared, and I don't know. So hopefully we get some decent kids this year.
Hopefully. Okay. All right, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. McCarthy?
Ray and Dom and I got to get together with about the part-time police, and that's it. We're moving on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Suchovich?
I wanted to get with Pat, and I didn't, but I want to bring this up to Craig and Nancy under ordinances. One thing, as we move into the fire service and as we move on in these days of alarms and everything, we're getting more and more false alarms. And I know a lot of communities have ordinances for, you get like three false alarms a year, and then you start getting a fine. Well, within the last week, we were down SEAC Consolidated Container, I think it was 9 times this week. So I'd like you to look into, if possible, enacting an ordinance or creating an ordinance, coming up with something that, an alarm's a computer and electrical thing. Things happen. But when we get down there 9 times within a matter of 4 days, and they kindly say, well, it just is what it is, and the owner's chief, he doesn't want to get it fixed. Well, he'll get it fixed once you call and tell him he's going to start getting fined. So maybe we can look into, Craig and Nancy, some type of fines, some type of ordinance to upgrade us to, where we need to be.
Right, and I looked on our system, my system, I don't see anything in Verona Borough where we've done an ordinance like that before.
I don't think there is. I know Penn Hills has one, I know Oak One has one.
I know I did one years ago for Pitcairn Borough as well.
It's not a matter of, like the first one, you get your 1 or 2 or your 3 a year, and after that,
9 times in 1 week?
I think with Nancy's help, I think we'd be happy to put that together.
Hey, Craig, could you implement the police department in that also?
Yeah.
I know they go with like maybe a $50 fine the first time, and then this, that would be the 4th time, and then like the 5th time, and they keep raising it to where it hits these people in the pocketbook, and they'll call their alarm company. They're not the ones getting out of bed at 5 in the morning at 7 Springs and hearing the alarm. We got Saturday morning, we got 4 calls in the middle of the morning. Now, mind you, we're running 3 companies every time that alarm comes in. Us, Point Breeze, and Oak One. So not only are we getting the calls, but I'm getting the calls from the other chiefs like, hey, dude, you got to do something here. And what can we really do other than say, we'll call the code enforcement people and have them come down. But we don't have a leg to stand on for anything if we don't have an ordinance.
Right.
So maybe we could look into something, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them or meet with Jens or whatever.
Thanks. That's a good idea, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, under finance and budget, we did turn in, Jerry, we got the county recycle form in, and we're ready to submit the 904 recycle program forms to the county. We just need to know when they're due. And I believe they could be due any time.
I think, they're due in September, but I think we can start submitting them much earlier than that. So I'll get with Mike and figure out when that happens.
Did you ever find out whether we could go back for the other years that were missed?
We're still working on that. See you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Mrs. Loalbo.
Okay, report update. On Tuesday, April 2nd, we met up at Cribs, the rec board. Sandy was there as well, and took a walk around. Mainly, the idea was to see where we're going to do the placement of the new garbage cans that came in. We were talking about the 2 entrances, so when that time comes, when we're ready to install them, we can pinpoint exactly where it was discussed, where they're going to be put in. Also, just looking around too to see what updates and maintenance still needs to be done with the parks, like the bocce court, which I know that's all will be worked on soon. I met with Dom over the weekend to discuss Bike Port that came up with priority with the field maintenance chart. We have listed the priorities that need to be taken care of as soon as possible. I don't know if they've tried to turn on the water yet, or if they've worked on that, the water line at the...
No, we have to get the water authority to come back and put the meter back in the pit, then we can turn the water on.
Okay, so whatever, yeah, but I guess there's some work that needs to be done inside too.
Yeah.
Okay, before that can be, that'll be happening soon with the ball.
Yes.
Right,
It'll be
great. Also, there was an email that came through this morning to Bill Tomlinson that he forwarded Jim Ashbaugh about to serve the burg. They want to do another project on May 18th, that's a Saturday, and they would like to, in the past years, they've worked with RAA mainly on cribs, so they were asking, looking for ideas, what can be done with this group. I know in the past they've done painting up the cribs, and I know it was discussed that painting the pavilion, or the pavilion, whatever you want to call it, a lighter shade or something like that. I don't know if that's something that can be worked on, if there's other ideas that come forth that they can do that won't interfere with our maintenance crew, the street crew. So if we have any ideas, we need to let them know before May 18th.
Okay.
But they'll be here that day. It's like a one-day thing. We want them to paint it, provide the paint, or if there's something, like I said, something else that needs done that they can do. Also, when I was up at Seven Springs too, I did talk to several the playground purveyors up there, and Mark Ford, who has done our playgrounds and our equipment before, because we were talking about maybe having somebody come and do a safety inspection. All three businesses that I talked to do that program. They can come. But Sports and Recreation Associates, they also hold classes on how to do the maintenance or to do the safety checks. So anybody can attend. They don't have a date on here, but we can call maybe and see who may be interested. It said who should attend: maintenance staff, recreation staff, anyone responsible for playgrounds. So I can look into this course further and see who, if we want to go through with that, and we can do our own safety inspections if it's with our street crew or somebody on the rec board. And that's all I have.
Janet, you did mention something about pickleball at the meeting.
Oh, yes.
And if you wouldn't mind bringing that up here.
There is a group of seniors that play pickleball up at the William McKinley Center at the top of the hill. And they come every Tuesdays and Thursdays and play pickleball. And it's like a smaller form of tennis. The ball looks like a wiffle ball, and it's with little paddles, and there's 4 people that play on the court at a time. But they're also looking for a place to play come summertime. Penn Hills, they did away with their tennis courts, which can be easily converted over to pickleball. They had looked at our tennis court down at Riverbank Park, and they're very, very interested in doing pickleball there. If anybody would be interested in playing, they hold classes, they'll teach. I don't think there's much to do, with to setting up the equipment, but they're willing to help with that too. It's just letting them come and use that park. The gentleman, Mr. Sheg, who is in charge of it, he's willing to come and talk to the rec board more about it, or if we need him to come to council, to explain a little further, he will. But they are looking for a place to play this summer.
I talked with the gentleman from Sealmaster at Seven Springs, and you can convert your tennis court into a pickleball court, but don't lose the function of the tennis court or the basketball court. I mean, it was some really great ideas. The ground coverage comes in all different colors, and I think he might be worthwhile coming to, I don't know if you want to bring him to the rec board to talk or bring him to council and talk. But he talked about how the kids within the school district devised the layout for the court, and then they had like a competition on whose design they were going to choose, and I often think about how the kids came here and presented. It might be a good idea to take the 6th grade and have them devise an idea. Now, I guess there's some sort of netting that's needed for pickleball, and they sell that equipment as well, and it's $300, but like it doesn't move. Like somebody can't steal it, is what I mean. And but it can be moved for like if you want to use it for basketball and stuff. So I think he might be worthwhile looking into if we decide to do that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, speak with him further.
Yeah.
Sandy, before you move on, Sylvia, I just wanted to say, in case since no one else did, that we are going into exec after this.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right. Yeah, you need it. I mean, we're...
Yeah, we all need it.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to state that for the record.
Okay. Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you. The newsletter, of course, is out. I hope everybody likes it, and we are good till the middle of June, by at least June the 15th. If you're going to have any ads or any articles, please have them in by then. And also, Jerry, do we have any update on website or any changes or anything?
It's a work in process, and we're working on it.
Okay, good, thank you, because I was questioned about it. I also attended Seven Springs along with my fellow people here at Council. It was a very excellent weekend, a lot of wonderful seminars. I think we all came back with a good bit of knowledge. I sat in on quite a few of them, and I brought back a little bit of what I think is interesting information. I sat in on County Council conference, and there were things that were told there that I was not aware of, and maybe you're not. Does anyone know how many county parks we have in Allegheny County?
400?
How many?
About 400?
No, these are county parks, you know, like Boyce and...
13.
Okay, we have 9. So that's all right. Nobody in the audience knew either, none of us. But we have 9 of them, and they actually comprise of 12,044 acres. And it's 181 miles of trail that is available at these parks. And they are open 365 days a year. People can use them. And also, they actually encourage people to use them. Now, we, of course, have Boyce Park, which is our local park. You don't have to travel far to go to that one. And, of course, there's North Park, South Park. But Boyce is very close. And some of the amenities that are available to people at these parks they have 2 golf courses, we have 4 life-guarded pools, also 2 skating rinks, a ski slope, and even much more. And they even offer a wide variety of programs there that are available, such as yoga and fitness classes, guided hikes, fishing lessons, sports clinics, and environmental education classes. And they asked if when they saw me taking all these notes, they said, would you mind sharing this with your council? And I said, yes, I would be glad to. They want people to know what is available to the people of Allegheny County. And some of the highlights from last year I thought were just amazing. 169,545 people was a total swimming pool attendance. That is, to me, that's a lot of people for just a few months in the summer. And that was actually a 9% increase from the year before. So apparently people are using these recreational facilities. And recreational programs actually increased 45% from 2017, which is quite a hike. And skiing and tubing, the lift ticket and the tubing sales came out to $15,831 was what revenue they took in from that. And that was a 23% increase from 2017. Now the parks have taken over concessions. They were vendor run, and the operations at the golf courses and Boyce Park Wave Pool and South Park Ice Rink brought in $221,691. and that was revenue just from concessions. And lastly on that, the revenue from the facilities where people were renting facilities during the summer and even other times of the year, because it's open 365 days a year, that revenue was $804,967. And the rentals, actually that increase was 9% from the year before. And I thought that was quite interesting. I did not know anything about that. I just didn't. And they said, please share this. We'd like your people to know it. And there was just one other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention. There's a current project going underway in downtown Pittsburgh, and it's actually at our courthouse downtown. It's a 130-year-old building, and the roof on that courthouse is now being not repaired, but redone, because it's such an old building, the roof really needed done. And that new roof, it maintains historical integrity of that building, and while it's achieving now better energy efficiency and compliance with today's building code requirements. And what they're going to do with these salvageable terracotta tiles, they're going to save the ones that aren't broken, and they're going to use them as commemorative gift items. And the sale of those proceeds are going to be donated back to Allegheny County Parks Foundation to benefit all 9 parks. And I think these are good things for people to know. So I thought you would find that interesting. I certainly did. And I thank you. That's it, Sandy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, reports from the special committees. I already discussed the Council of Governments. Anything on Banner Community? Sylvia, I was wondering, at the banquet on Saturday night, there were, I think, five communities that received scholarships, and I was wondering what that was all about.
They have never mentioned scholarships to me, but I will look at it. I'll look into it tomorrow morning, Sandy.
Okay. I was just wondering how Verona, because I think Oakmont, this past year was their first year, and they received a scholarship, and we've been doing it for 6-7 years now.
Right.
Yeah. So if you would, please, I'd appreciate that.
I will, Sandy. I will call tomorrow.
Okay. Council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items. Please approach the podium, state your name and address.
Timmy DeLong, 323 Penn Street. You guys went over most of the stuff that I want to talk about, but like the water at Cribs, the piping, like I said, is not hooked up. If the water company comes and puts the meter back on and turns the water on, the place is going to be flooded.
Yeah, there's a valve in the pit. They'll put the meter in, they'll turn it on to that valve on our side.
Because inside,
we can control it.
It just needs, the shark bites need reconnected.
Yeah.
You guys fixed it last year, and I guess over the winter, they fell out or someone bumped them, but they're not hooked up. But do you have an ETA on maybe when that's going to happen?
I'm going to talk to him tomorrow.
We're getting ready to go into week 3 of our league, and we can't use the bathrooms. We have no water up there.
I'm going to talk to him tomorrow morning about getting the meter put in, and once that's done, then I can get our guys to go up and start working on the lines.
All right, thank you very much.
My name is Charlie Davis. I'm with Twin Boroughs Health Ministry. I wanted to see about being put on the agenda for next month to talk about the summer camp. So that'll be the end of that. The only other thing I wanted to let you know is that the community dinners have been doing very well at Verona Methodist Church, and that's through Twin Boroughs Health Ministry, but that includes a lot of the churches in Verona, Oakmont, businesses in Oakmont and Verona that help provide these dinners. So it's not always a cost on just one person. So it's a great thing. We have been recycling our clothes through the clothes closet up at our church also. We filled your bins today for you, Ray. So we feel that that's a good thing, so we have to sometimes share with Point Breeze too, because I might hear about that if I don't.
Truth be told, it all goes in the same.
That's what I thought.
Same guy picks it all.
Right, and he divides it among all of you, so I think that's a great thing. The other thing I wanted to let you all know is that now with the community dinners, the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank is coming in, and they are going to be bringing vegetables, potatoes, carrots, whatever is in season for that month, or whatever they have extra. They're going to be bringing it and setting it up on a couple tables at our community dinners, and one of us will watch over it, and people will be allowed to take that fresh vegetables, and it could be fruit, or whatever, and take it home, and they can wash it and use it. So, and the other thing that we have joined up with is UPMC over across the river, and they have come in and they are going to do blood pressures every dinner. They have an actual doctor there to talk about cholesterol, to talk about anything that you need to talk about, and to let people know that there's help if you don't have the money to get your pills or so forth like that. So I think that's a good thing. They're going to be doing that every 3 months. So the next one will be at the end of June, and if they can get the participation for the people doing this, then they will try to do it more and try to, bring more things in that will help people. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what's going on with the community dinners besides just the community dinner.
That's nice.
Okay.
Shirley, two things. When is your clothing bank open that people can make donations?
We have a bin up on the front porch on the Center Avenue side, and we get our clothes donated through there. I get a lot of calls because people that come and help with the community dinners, they will bring clothes and they'll call me. My phone number is 412-828-3412. Anybody can get a hold of me, and I will make arrangements to meet them there to get their clothes. We try to every couple weeks go through things and things that are not moving out to put into somewhere, because we know that those clothes, if we put them in a bag and take them to the fireman's thing or something, they'll get used somewhere else. So we don't want it to go to waste.
Okay.
So like I said, everything's been going well, and if it wasn't for the churches and the community leaders and all sorts of things, we wouldn't even be able to do this. So I thank everybody.
How many people are you servicing?
We're serving no less than 60 in the bad months, and we've served up to 122 in a good month. But I would say on average, 85 people.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wow. I wish we could do more, but there's so many people. If you have younger people in your church, they're working. If you have older people, they can't do it, So they have me for a few more years, maybe. Maybe till I'm 80 in 4 more years. But thank you very much, okay?
Thank you. Okay. Anything? Can I have a motion to adjourn to exec session, and do we have to return?
Well, we might. We have to make a decision about the garbage. We can't wait.
Recess into exec session now.
We're going to recess into exec session. A motion to recess into exec session.
Make a motion to recess into exec session.
Okay, motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passed.